My name is Jim Beattie, and I'm your coach for the Principles of Management course. It's such a lovely day here in Red Deer that I thought I would go outside. It's about -2. I'm in a park in Red Deer, and I thought it would be nice because we're having Ontario weather and you're having Alberta weather. I know it's snowy and cold where you are, but I wanted to connect with you on a deeper level. Emails just don't work. So my plan is to create a short video each week. Let's see how that works, and please give me your feedback. But we need to be able to, you need to be able to connect with me when you're struggling or you've got a question. And so I'd like to suggest that you call me on my cell phone. The number is 403-597-0763. Call me at any time. You're likely to have to leave a message, but I'll call you back on my dime. I've been doing this for many years, but like many of you, I come from industry. I've owned several businesses, one for over 25 years, and I've been president of 6 organizations. I've interviewed hundreds of people in my career, and I've helped thousands of students improve their job search strategies. But one of the differences between an in-class and an online course is that I can't see the level of your engagement. A couple of weeks ago, I posted a note from Blanchard Leader Chat. It was about moving from peer to a manager. A couple of you responded with some outstanding comments. You really showed some passion, and it was, it just pointed out to me that one of the key jobs of a manager is helping to grow his or her own people. In order to move in an organization, you have to be grooming your replacement. And so I like that article from peer to a manager, and I thank you for those who commented on the article. I've worked for, I guess when I started working after I graduated from Humber, the second job I had was with the subsidiary of a U.S. company. And my role there was to develop a function, get it going, build a department, and then move on to something else. So I learned early in life the importance of teamwork, and believe me, that's paid off. But teamwork means that sometimes you have to step up and be a leader, sometimes you have to step back and let other people lead. But that ability to work with others is a key tool in building your career. So as a spin-off in a course like this, you've got to work in teams. You've got to discuss more, you've got to share more, and you've got to be more engaged. Believe me when I tell you that you're developing a skill that will serve you well in your career. And that brings me to my third point, Winston General Hospital. I haven't seen a lot of discussion on the website or on Blackboard, and we've got to change that. I asked that you give me a laundry list of what each team felt some of the problems were in the Winston case. And so I thought the key part of this video is to give you a hand in getting going on your discussions. So let me just look at the case, and I'll walk you through some of what I think the key elements are. Your team is playing the role of the consultants that have been hired at the hospital. And they were hired to study the existing organization as an effective structure for achieving the hospital's objectives. And you can see those objectives are on the first page. The consultants were supposed to recommend changes and improvement plans and define responsibilities. Translated, that means perhaps job descriptions. But the objectives of the hospital are to provide the highest quality of patient care to the community, to maintain and enlarge the School of Nursing program, and to operate the hospital in an efficient manner with the lowest possible costs. So as you read the case, you can see that's clearly not happening. The case talks about organization charts and job descriptions were only available for the office manager's staff and the 3 key nursing directors. You have a copy of that organization chart, and you can see that it is a wide, flat span of control. So you don't have a management structure. So part of your task is to create a new organization chart. It says decision-making powers were held very tightly. So there wasn't much delegation of responsibility and authority, and people tended to avoid the administrator whenever they could. But on the plus side, the quality of patient care was high, and that was due to the dedication and the competence of a lot of the staff. The office manager, they say, had considerable influence over other departments, and he had developed smooth running systems, so he ended up dealing with many departments and trying to help them. He had 2 good supervisors, but as it says, he was free to discuss problems with other department heads, and he was attending a night school class in hospital administration. The laundry manager was another good manager. He had made improvements in the hospital, and he was often seen giving suggestions to other people in the maintenance area, supervisors in housekeeping, boiler room elevators, and security. The previous administrator had really, I guess, was a bit of a control freak. You read that he was signing every purchase requisition himself, and however the food costs per patient were higher than in other hospitals, and they had a large inventory of supplies and equipment. There wasn't any discount buying and bulk purchasing. That's a problem. It says that on several occasions the board of directors had become deeply involved in lower echelon personnel problems or HR problems, and that was frustrating for department managers. It's always difficult when a member of the board gets involved in that operational level. So that's another issue. But the quality of patient care was high. The nurses often complained about inadequate support from housekeeping, dietary, pharmacy, and other departments, and that prevented them from spending most of their time in doing what they were supposed to do, which was taking care of the patients. The director of nursing had some issues. She complained about inadequate support and the difficulty in running a school of nursing and actually providing the nursing services. Inadequate attention to student nurses on on-ward duty was a repeated criticism. Perhaps another issue for you to consider. So the organization's effectiveness could be viewed for the work performed by the nurses. They did that activity sampling, and you can see in that appendix that the nurses were spending some time in areas where perhaps they shouldn't have been spending any time. The key part of the case is on the last page where they give you the questions. They ask you to discuss the effectiveness of the existing organization, plan the broad structure of an improved organization, that means doing a revised organization chart, and develop plans for solving problems and identify potential improvements. So the first step in the case is to get together in your groups electronically and share what you think are some of the key problems. And what I'd like to suggest to you is that you give me a laundry list of the problems, and I'd like to get that by midnight next Saturday on March the 7th. So the first task is to use the discussion board that was set up in each of your groups and list out some of the problems that you see in the case. And later this week, I'll post another video to make certain that you're on track. I'll reply to your postings, but the first task is just to develop that laundry list of problems and issues, and then from that you'll start to give some thought to how an organization chart should be redeveloped. Who to promote? You don't have an administrator right now. Well, there are always 2 choices. Do you promote from within or do you go outside? And I'll let each team discuss that and come up with a recommendation. Anyway, have a great day, have a good week, but get into the case, start to discuss it as a group. I know it's a little time consuming, this is a challenging case, but once you start to identify all of the problem areas, the chips will start to fall into place, and you'll start to think about how to revise the organization chart. And then by the time you get to that first question, which asks you about how effective the hospital is, well, when you talk about effectiveness, you also have to talk about ineffectiveness. But by the time you've listed out the problem areas, you've worked on the organization chart, then that question becomes quite simple. So, hope you enjoy the video. I will have another one next week. But please, if you have a question or a problem, pick up the phone and call me, 403-597-0763. Thanks very much. Stay warm, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.